All right, well, there has been some talk about using a dryer, drying your filament before you print, and I guess the word is that if it leaves the dryer or like an AMS2 or whatever, and it's drying it and it exits and goes into the printer, well, the filament is going to be at a higher temperature. It could be softer, and when it reaches your extruder, it could clog up your extruder, or get it bound up in your gears and whatnot, the feed gears. Well, I want to show you this, what I've got. You can see it right here. The filament has been in this dryer, set at 60 degrees. It looks like just over 4 hours, 4 hours and 20 minutes or so. Let me show you. Yeah, so you can see it's 60 degrees C. Yeah, about 4 hours, 19 minutes, 4 hours, 20 minutes or so. It's at 15%. The print here has only been going for about 30 minutes, but this has been drying for quite some time, and now I have it feeding into the cooler, and it goes through the PTFE tubes and straight into the A1 here. But what I want to show you is how this thing works. You can see it passes through. There's the PTFE tube, and I left this loose here and I left a gap here because I want to show you the difference in temperature as it exits the dryer and then exits the cooler. Well, let's take some measurements. So you can see I'm using this one of the infrared thermometers, so I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but at least we'll be able to see the delta here on the temperature. I want to see what change it makes from before and after it passes through the cooler. Yeah, it's showing 60, 61, 64, 65, 58, 60, so the dryer's doing its thing. And let me go through here. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that. I'm reading 57. Yeah, that's about right, 58. Now after it leaves the cooler, here's that gap. Yeah, at 27. Yeah, that's got it. All right. Well, that's quite a difference there. Yeah, so that's quite a difference. It went from 59 down to 27 degrees C. Just going through the cooler here, you can see it has a little fan here, and then the aeration tube as it goes through. And it's a little bitty fan, doesn't take much. I mean, I can still feel it passing through here. Now this is an inline version. You can see it just has a USB power here going straight down. This is just inline on the PTFE tube as it goes into the printer. And it could do the same thing here with this X1 carbon. As it exits the external printer, you can do the same thing. Just have it in line and going into the X1 carbon, and you don't have to worry about the temperature being high or the filament being too soft as it gets to the extruder. Another version, I mean, we can do the same thing, have it hooked up in line, say if it's coming out of the AMS2, and then goes through that PTFE tube and then into the printer. Well, at that junction there, you can put the filament cooler on it, and the way this is made here, it can enter and exit on either direction, right? So as it's feeding the filament down and back and cycling everything through the AMS or AMS2, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, the filament can pass through either end, you know, as it cycles back and forth. And that with the H2D, if that's working like that, then you should be able to use the AMS2 at the same time. You can dry your filament, use it at the same time as you're printing. You know, because where they have it right now at Bamboo Lab, I think we need to convince them of this, but they don't want you to use the AMS2 at the same time you're printing. It's like, well, that kind of leaves the printer just idle for a long time, right? Sometimes you have the filament drying for 6 hours. Sometimes you're going to have it, you know, for overnight, 12 hours, 24 hours, however long it takes on some filaments. But this way we can use the AMS2 or a dryer or anything at the same time that you're printing, right? So, well, that's one version. I have one where it's built into the dryer, and one that is built in on the AMS2, and one that is built in actually to the printer, right? So, but you can see it works. So I'll do some more testing with the H2D to make sure. This will be fun. Okay, so here's, you can see these are the inline versions again, and in this version you can see I attached it to the cover of this dryer, right? So now it's a part of the dryer. You can mount it anywhere you want. It can be built in, like I'm saying, if it's a part of the dryer itself. So there's some advantages to it. As soon as it leaves the dryer, it's going into the cooler and then off to your printer. This way also you can, instead of having a USB cord to have to plug in, it can be built in on a dryer using the same power source as the fan that's already in the dryer itself. And you can see I've got it set up for a dual spool dryer. You can have multiple units on it, going one to one printer, one to another. And there's all kinds of advantages to it, having it built in. And you can opt to have it built in on a printer. So if there's a cooler, so as soon as whatever dryer you have, as soon as it's leaving, before it reaches, before it enters the printer, the cooler is built in using the same power source, you know, that's built in on your printer or whatever. So there's multiple ways to do it. All right, so here's the H2D with the AMS2, the package deal. And so we all know that this AMS2 acts as a dryer also, right? And that's one of the main things. I wanted to be able to put this cooler in between, you know, after the AMS2 and before the printer, to cool it off so that you can actually dry your filament at the same time, right? So let me show you how easy this is to put on. We'll just go around to the back here. So here is the PTFE tube coming out of the AMS. And you see here's the cooler. And I have PTFE tubes stuck in here just for test, I guess. But I'm going to remove these, cut this PTFE tube about right there. Probably be just fine. And then insert the PTFE tubes. Let's see, I don't know if I can do this single-handedly, but when you split the tube here, make sure you get a good razor, a good straight cut, right? You don't want it oblong or anything, or when you stick it in here, it's going to be off a little bit. You want it a perpendicular cut as much as you can, and one of these little clip cutters really does the job. So yeah, about right there. Yeah, so there we go, a good clean cut. And you insert the tube and push it in until it bottoms out. Let's see if I can't do this with one hand. So there we go. It is now in line. Here's the power for the fan. It is a USB. And I have a power strip back here that really comes in handy, and I'm going to plug it right in. So there we go. The fan is on. It's very quiet. It's very low power, but I can feel it. It's enough to push the air within the housing and push it out of these aerator slots. Yeah, so you can see how easy it was to install. It was just right in line on that PTFE tube, and the way this AMS2, and I'm sure it's software controlled. It's something that can be done on the firmware. But right now, while you're running the AMS2, you have to have all the filaments all rolled up, and then it does the drying. And right now it's set for, like, there's still 9 hours to go. It's like, well, the printer's gonna just sit idle that whole time. I mean, it's kind of a waste of precious time. If that's your only printer that you have, then yeah, you're just going to have to wait. But with that inline cooler like that, then you can dry at the same time as you're printing, since it does have that drop in temperature as we measured before on the other unit. So that little cooler that you saw there, that was with it on the inline version still, and you can see how easy it would be to incorporate it into the AMS2 itself. As it exits the AMS2, it goes through the cooler built in, to the box. The same thing with these dryers. You can build it into the dryer, so as it exits the dryer, it's where you're going through a cooler and then straight into the PTFE tube. And don't forget, when you're looking back here also, looking at the rear of the printer, you can see how easy it would be to incorporate it into the printer itself. So no matter if you're using an AMS2 or an external dryer, it has to pass through a cooler before it has to pass through the cooler that's built in on the printer before it gets to the extruder, right? So, but right now the easiest way to do it, and the most universal way, is the inline version. So that will work off of any dryer going into any printer, right? So that is it.